Hello, and welcome back to Better English Step by Step. This is your calm, long-form English learning podcast where we take one goal and we master it slowly and completely. I am your host, Sarah, and I am here to help you build your confidence.
And I am Mark. I am here to learn along with you, ask the questions you might be thinking, and help you practice these patterns until they feel natural.
Today, we have a very special goal. We are going to solve one of the most frustrating problems for English learners. Mark, do you know that feeling when you are talking to someone and the conversation just dies?
Oh, I know it very well. You say, "Hello, how are you?" And they say, "I am fine, thanks." And then, silence.
Exactly, that awkward silence. You want to say more. You want to connect with the person. You want to have what we call deep talk, but you feel stuck in small talk. You feel stuck talking about the weather or the weekend or work, and you do not know how to move to a deeper level.
It is a terrible feeling. You feel like your English is good enough to understand, but not good enough to be interesting. You feel a bit boring.
You are not boring. You just lack the bridges. Today, we are going to learn the conversation pivots. These are specific sentence patterns that act like a bridge. They take you from a shallow topic, like the weather, to a deep topic, like your feelings, your memories, or your opinions.
So we are not just learning vocabulary today?
No, we are learning how to control the direction of a conversation. By the end of this hour, you will have 3 powerful tools in your pocket. You will know how to use the opinion bridge, the curiosity pivot, and the vulnerability opener.
That sounds incredibly useful. I am ready to start.
Wonderful. Before we begin, I want you to relax. If you are commuting or washing dishes or just sitting in your favorite chair, take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. You do not need to stress about grammar rules right now. Just listen to our voices, and when I ask you to repeat, speak out loud if you can. If you cannot speak, say it clearly in your mind.
Let's start with the problem. Why do we get stuck in small talk?
We get stuck because we treat conversation like a tennis match. I hit the ball to you, and you hit it back. Mark, ask me a typical small talk question.
Okay. Sarah, did you have a good weekend?
Yes, it was good, thanks.
Okay. That is it. The ball stopped.
Exactly. I answered your question, but I killed the conversation. This is what many learners do. They answer the question perfectly, but they do not build a bridge to the next topic.
So how do we fix it?
We used a first tool. This is called the opinion bridge. The goal here is to move from a fact to a feeling. Small talk is usually about facts. It is raining. The bus is late. I had pizza for lunch. Deep talk is about feelings and opinions.
So we need a phrase that connects the fact to the feeling.
Correct. The most useful phrase for this is "speaking of," followed by the topic, and then your feeling. Listen to this example. Mark, talk about the weather again.
It is really cold today, isn't it?
It is freezing. Speaking of cold weather, I have always felt that winter makes people a bit more thoughtful and quiet. Do you think that is true?
Wow, that was a big change. We went from the temperature to human psychology in one sentence.
Exactly. The bridge was the phrase "speaking of," and then I added, "I have always felt that." Let's practice this structure. I want you to listen to the phrase and then repeat it after me. We will go slowly.
Ready.
Speaking of winter, I have always felt that it is a cozy time.
Speaking of winter, I have always felt that it is a cozy time.
Good. Now you try it. Listen and repeat. Speaking of winter, I have always felt that it is a cozy time.
Speaking of winter, I have always felt that it is a cozy time.
Let's try another variation. Imagine someone mentions travel. Instead of just asking, "Where did you go?" use the opinion bridge. Listen to this. Speaking of travel, I have always found that it changes your perspective on life.
That is a deep sentence.
It is, but it is easy to say if you know the pattern. The pattern is, speaking of topic, I have always found that opinion. Mark, you try it with the topic food.
Okay. Speaking of food, I have always found that sharing a meal brings people together.
Perfect. Listeners, did you hear that rhythm? Speaking of food, pause. I have always found that sharing a meal brings people together. Now I want you to repeat Mark's sentence.
Speaking of food, I have always found that sharing a meal brings people together.
Excellent. This phrase, "I have always found that," implies that you have thought about this before. It makes you sound intelligent and reflective. It is much better than saying, I like food.
It certainly sounds more mature.
Let's do one more drill with the opinion bridge. This time, we will use the phrase, that actually reminds me of. This is perfect when someone tells you a story and you want to connect it to a deeper memory of your own.
So if I say, I saw a great movie last night, what do you say?
I could say, that actually reminds me of a film I saw years ago that changed my life.
And suddenly, we are talking about life-changing moments, not just a movie.
Yes. Let's practice the bridge. Listen and repeat. That actually reminds me of.
That actually reminds me of.
That actually reminds me of a time when I was younger.
That actually reminds me of a time when I was younger.
Now put it together. Listen carefully. That actually reminds me of a time when I was younger and more adventurous.
That actually reminds me of a time when I was younger and more adventurous.
Your turn, listener. Shadow mark.
That actually reminds me of a time when I was younger and more adventurous.
Very good. You are building the muscle memory for these transitions. If you use these phrases, you are signaling to the other person that you are ready for a real conversation. You are opening the door.
I like that image. You are opening the door. If you just say yes or no, you are keeping the door closed.
Exactly. Now, let's move to our second tool. This is called the curiosity pivot.
What is the difference between this and the opinion bridge?
The opinion bridge is about sharing your thoughts. The curiosity pivot is about asking better questions. Mark, in small talk, we often ask closed questions. These are questions that can be answered with yes or no.
Like, did you like the movie? Or was the food good?
Yes, those questions kill the conversation. They force the other person to do all the work. To get to deep talk, we need to pivot to open questions that ask about motivation, feelings, or choices.
Can you give us an example?
Instead of asking, did you like your job? Asking, what made you decide to choose that career?
I see. Did you like it is a yes or no. What made you decide requires a story.
Exactly. The magic phrase here is, what made you decide to do? It is very polite, but it invites a deep answer. Let's practice it. Repeat after me. What made you decide to?
What made you decide to?
What made you decide to move to this city?
What made you decide to move to this city?
Listener, repeat that. Focus on the intonation. It should sound curious, not aggressive. Go up at the end. What made you decide to move to this city?
What made you decide to move to this city?
Another great curiosity pivot is asking about feelings directly. Instead of, was it good? Ask, how did it feel when?
Ooh, that is a good one. How did it feel when you finished the project?
Yes, or how did it feel when you realized you made a mistake? That leads to vulnerability and connection. Let's practice the pattern, how did it feel when?
How did it feel when?
How did it feel when you first arrived here?
How did it feel when you first arrived here?
Listener, your turn. Imagine you are talking to a friend who just returned from a long trip. Don't just say, was it fun? Ask them this. How did it feel when you first arrived there?
How did it feel when you first arrived there?
Excellent. These questions show that you care about the person's internal experience, not just the external facts. People love to talk about themselves if you give them the right prompt.
I think that is the key. People want to share, but they need permission. These questions give them permission.
That is beautifully said, Mark. You are giving them permission to be deep. If you are enjoying this lesson and you want to build your English confidence step by step, please consider subscribing to the channel. We release these long-form lessons regularly to help you grow.
Now, Sarah, what is the third tool? You mentioned the vulnerability opener.
Yes, this is perhaps the most powerful, but also the scariest for learners.
Why is it scary?
Because it requires you to admit a weakness or a true feeling. In a second language, we often try to be perfect. We want to sound smart. But connection happens when we are imperfect. The vulnerability opener is a phrase that signals you are about to share something real and honest.
Like admitting you are nervous?
Exactly. The phrase I love for this is, to be honest, I used to struggle with.
Oh, I like that. It shows you are human.
Let's imagine you are talking about learning English. Someone says, English is hard. You could say, yes, it is. That is small talk. Or you could use the vulnerability opener. To be honest, I used to struggle with confidence a lot.
That immediately changes the tone. Now we are bonding over a shared struggle.
Let's practice that phrase. To be honest.
To be honest.
To be honest, I used to struggle with.
To be honest, I used to struggle with.
To be honest, I used to struggle with speaking in public.
To be honest, I used to struggle with speaking in public.
Listener, repeat after Mark. Really feel the meaning. You are sharing a secret.
To be honest, I used to struggle with speaking in public.
Another variation of this is, I have to admit. Use this when you are confessing an opinion that might be unpopular or just personal.
Example?
I have to admit, I sometimes find parties a bit overwhelming.
That is a great sentence for introverts. It invites the other person to say, "Me too."
Exactly. It creates a me too moment. Let's practice. I have to admit.
I have to admit.
I have to admit, I sometimes find big crowds overwhelming.
I have to admit, I sometimes find big crowds overwhelming.
Listener, try it. Be brave.
I have to admit, I sometimes find big crowds overwhelming.
These phrases, to be honest, I have to admit, are like warning lights. They tell the listener, listen closely, I am giving you a piece of my real self. And usually the other person will respect that and give you a piece of their real self in return.
So we have the opinion bridge for sharing thoughts, the curiosity pivot for asking deep questions, and the vulnerability opener for sharing feelings.
Precisely. Now we are going to do something a bit different. We are going to put all of these together in a simulation.
A simulation.
Yes, I want the listener to imagine they are in a coffee shop. You are sitting with a colleague, let's call him David. You have been talking about work for 10 minutes and it is getting boring. You want to pivot to deep talk.
Okay, I am imagining the coffee shop, the smell of coffee, the noise of the machine.
I will play the part of David. I will say something typical and shallow. Mark, you will help the listener by modeling the pivot. Then I will give the listener a chance to try.
I am ready.
Scene 1. David says, "The coffee here is pretty good today, isn't it?" Mark, use an opinion bridge to talk about how coffee helps you relax or think.
Speaking of coffee, I have always felt that a quiet morning with a cup of coffee is the best way to clear my mind.
Excellent. See, you moved from the taste of the drink to mental health and clarity. Listener, now it's your turn. I will say the line. You have a few seconds of silence. I want you to say Mark's line, or your own version, using "Speaking of coffee, I have always felt." Ready? "The coffee here is pretty good today, isn't it?" Never force it. Just offer it. But for most intermediate learners, the problem isn't that the other person doesn't want to talk. The problem is that the learner is too afraid to offer the invitation.
They are waiting for the native speaker to make it deep.
Yes, and I want you, the listener, to stop waiting. You have the tools now. You can lead the conversation.
Shall we practice the pronunciation of these phrases one more time? I think the rhythm is really important.
Good idea. Let's do a rapid-fire review. I will say the name of the tool and the phrase. You repeat it immediately. We will pick up the speed a little bit. Are you ready?
Ready.
Opinion bridge. Speaking of X, I have always felt that.
Speaking of X, I have always felt that.
Curiosity pivot. What made you decide to?
What made you decide to?
Vulnerability opener. To be honest, I used to struggle with.
To be honest, I used to struggle with.
Opinion bridge. That actually reminds me of a time when.
That actually reminds me of a time when.
Curiosity pivot. How did it feel when you?
How did it feel when you?
Vulnerability opener. I have to admit, I sometimes find it difficult to.
I have to admit, I sometimes find it difficult to.
Great job. Take a deep breath. You have done a lot of speaking today.
My mouth is actually a bit tired.
That is a good sign. It means you are working the muscles. Remember, English is physical. It is not just in your brain, it's in your mouth.
Sarah, do you have any final tips for using these in the real world?
Yes, start small. Do not try to have a deep philosophical debate with the cashier at the supermarket. That might be weird.
Speaking of apples, I have always felt that life is fragile.
Exactly. Don't do that. Try it with a colleague, a classmate, or a friend you haven't seen in a while. Pick one phrase, just one. Maybe today your goal is just to use "that actually reminds me of."
Focus on one tool at a time.
Yes, step by step. If you try to remember all 10 phrases we learned, you will freeze. Just put one in your pocket.
I think I will use "what made you decide to." It seems like a very friendly way to get to know someone.
It is. It's my favorite. It makes people feel special because you are asking about their choices, not just their circumstances.
Thank you for walking us through this, Sarah. It really clarifies the difference between knowing English words and knowing how to converse.
You are very welcome, Mark. And thank you to our listeners for spending this time with us. You are investing in yourself, and that is a beautiful thing.
What should they do next?
Well, if you found this helpful, the best way to support this channel is to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps us find more learners like you. But your real homework is this. In the next 24 hours, send a text message or have a spoken conversation where you use one opinion bridge. Someone will send you a photo or a fact. Don't just say, "cool." Say, "Speaking of that, I have always felt," and add your opinion.
Just one text message. That's easy.
It is easy, but it starts the habit.
I will do it.
Fantastic. Thank you for listening to Better English Step by Step. Keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, you are getting better, one word and one pivot at a time.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.